Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Thursday, October 19th of 2023. Thanks so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful week so far. And we have a pretty interesting day ahead of us. I feel like I've been saying that about every single day lately. Today may present a bit of a challenge. Interesting enough, we do have a couple of, I would say, positive aspects, but I think honestly, as this week continues, the energy just gets more intense, and you have to just remain, calm, and you have to have discernment, because there's a lot of trickster energy out here. There's a lot of duplicit energy out here, and a lot of Trojan horse energy out here. Let's dive in. So we do have the day. Starting off, it's going to be here with the moon here in Sagittarius, right? So generally, whenever the moon is in Sagittarius, it's pretty positive. The only thing about this moon is that it's been under quite a bit of stress. As soon as it came into Sagittarius, it squared Saturn. Today, it's going to square Neptune. Now, what's interesting about that square is that it's going to be happening at the same time that the Sun and Mercury will be conjunct in Libra. So their energies are going to be amplifying each other. And these energies are going to be quincunxing Neptune. So you have a square to Neptune today that we're going to feel, and a quincunx as well that we're going to feel. So you had the tension building up with that moon and Neptune. That's going to be building up throughout the morning. We're already getting it with the Sun and Mercury, even though their conjunction isn't fully exact yet. It builds up throughout the day, and you're going to definitely really feel that. Now, what's interesting too is that on the way to that square of the moon to Neptune, it is going to quincunx Uranus before it hits there. So right already, the day you probably wake up to the energy just feeling weird, off. Probably feeling like there's some information that you're wanting to come forward. That's wanting to come forward. You're probably looking for some sort of reason for why things may feel off, why there may seem to be imbalance in the world. We got to think the Sun and Mercury did just come off of the South Node. It did just oppose the North Node and Eris, which for me I felt like which was bringing up a lot of things like Trojan horse kind of energy. People presenting solutions that are masquerading, something that may not actually do very well, something that may be duplicit in nature, maybe invasion kind of energy. That's on the larger scale. Now, in your personal life, you may find yourself potentially dealing with fake people that could be scam artist kind of energy. I actually had an interesting experience too with this, where someone sent me a message masquerading as another astrologer, and I caught them red-handed in it. It was freaking hilarious too. I ended up messaging the actual astrologer about this, and apparently, he's already aware of this, but it's tough for Instagram to really do anything about it. So there's imposter energy out here. Whenever you have a Mercury, and forget that Mercury is also, Hermes was the trickster god too. We forget about that. So when you have a Mercury that's coming off of the South Node in Libra, opposing Eris, the warrior goddess of strife and discord, and the North Node is there, yeah, that's definitely going to be a bit of a trickster kind of energy. So, and also information. Conversations too, especially being where we are in Libra, one of the more social signs of the zodiac, and now the Sun is here. Even I think I think it was in my message yesterday in my horoscope, how I was talking about some of the more worldly news that was happening, and I came to find out that the hospital attack was actually a hoax. And I think, for the average person, we probably will see different headlines and stuff like that, and we may not dive as deep into them as we want to. And this is going to be a time as all these energies are building up and they start to move into Scorpio, where a lot of hidden information is about to come to the surface. A lot of hidden information is about to come to light. With the day like today, as things are continuing to build, while these energies are still mostly in Libra and in Aries and in Moon in Sagittarius, this is definitely a day that will be ripe for gaslighting. People trying to get you to believe a certain narrative, go a certain way, and you have to really have discernment on whether or not these people have. I'm not necessarily. I want to say your best interest at heart, but you want to look for the people that aren't picking sides. The only side that people should be picking right now is the side of humanity. That's all it comes down to. Because when you pick the side of humanity, then you pick a side that is of the light and that's going to be for everyone, right? But that's the thing about this. You're going to have light masquerading as dark, dark masquerading as light. It can be a bit tricky to kind of navigate this energy. But even like with the whole, let me just uh, pull this up because the whole hospital thing, and I talked about it on my channel yesterday in my video, and I was like, well, dang, man, like I'm glad that I found out that this thing was actually fake and actually wasn't real. But sometimes you make mistakes. Sometimes you might spout off information that's actually not true. So let me see if I can find. Oh, here we go. Let's see. All right, yeah. So there was like something that came out about the hospital over in Gaza that was like blown up or something like that, and there was like hundreds of casualties and shit. Yeah, apparently not true. So you know, that's what I'm talking about. Where there's gonna be a lot of duplicit energy, right? So yeah, this is from timcast.com, the news section. New evidence shows Israel not responsible for Gaza hospital explosion. Photo and video evidence shows parking lot was hit, while officials now attribute the incident to a failed Hamas rocket. Um, this came out, earlier today, or yesterday, if you will. I'm making this actually around midnight now, so making it a little bit earlier than I usually do. The explosion at the Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital was almost immediately attributed to Israel, with some pointing out that Hamas fighters would not have rockets strong enough to cause major structural damage to the facility. The New York Times said it had verified photos and videos showing bloodied and battered bodies, flames, grieving witnesses, and the blankets, backpacks, and mattresses of the dead and wounded littering the area. At the Times also reported a spokeswoman for the Gazan Health Ministry put the total at 500 or more dead, which the ministry later changed to hundreds. No figure could be confirmed independently, but images from the hospital, which is run by the Anglican Church, and witness accounts made it clear that it was high. Let's see. So, daylight, the Al-Ahli Hospital in Gaza still stands. Local footage shows all buildings intact. There are no rescue workers pulling bodies from rubble. There are no bodies. There is no rubble. A tragedy happened. Innocents died, but it wasn't as reported yesterday. So, not as bad as what it was initially reported as, right? But this is the kind of things that you have to really be wary about. And this is only the beginning of this kind of information, too. And that's kind of the scary thing about this too, is that you're going to see more stories like this pop up, and you're going to have the discernment to know what is true and what's not. Now, as these energies shift into Scorpio, as I said, this is going to start to reveal what has been hidden for a long time. The South Node's not there anymore, so it's going to definitely bring up some things that have been pushed down and suppressed. Now, as you move throughout the day, we're going to see that moon, the sun's going to hit 26 degrees before Mercury does, but that's where their actual, conjunction will happen, right? Now, we can see that in the middle of this, we do have the moon, which is going to trine the North Node in Aries. Now, this is sort of like this one little moment in the day, this little kind of moment of reprieve, if you will, a harmonization. But this harmonization, it comes with the North Node in Aries. So this is honestly where you kind of have to go into your bad bitch energy, bad bitch mode kind of energy. But you have to do so in a way that it's a confidence in, you have to pretty much embrace your spiritual badassery. You know what I mean? Spiritual warrior badassery. You kind of have to embrace that, not being arrogant, but also this is about whether or not you really believe in the value that you bring to the table, that you bring to the world as a unique human being with your unique experience. Do you really value that, what you bring to the table? Or are you putting off a persona that you think is going to get you the clout and the admiration and the acceptance that you want and or need? That's the thing about this. You know, there are going to be some people today, especially as things continue to heat up in your personal lives and, of course, on the world stage, that people are going to be having to pick sides and then defend themselves and over explain themselves. You can be, and because we have Uranus here that's been making aspects to Mercury and the Sun over the past few days, and then of course the Moon, it's going to coincides the Moon, right? There's definitely this element, you know, and the Moon's going to trine Uranus once it goes into Capricorn. We'll see this weekend how things even get more intense, right? We have, of course, Black Moon Lilith, which is going to be in trine to Uranus today too. There is going to be a lot of random wrenches out of left field where it's like you can be saying something like, oh, I enjoy reading books. And then someone somewhere's going to be like, oh my gosh, did you know that books are sexist? Like, that's a very wild way out there, you know, example, but that's the kind of energy that we're in. When people start hurling certain opinions and certain, you are this thing because you said this thing, and they try and paint your entire character as something when you know that that's not true. Do you have the strength of character? Will you remain in that vibrational integrity to rise above what people may or may not say about you, and how people choose to define you in their eyes, through their own head, their projection? The person that these people may see you as is not who you actually are. It's not. It's simply a projection of maybe all of their experiences or maybe what they've heard about you, but they don't actually know you. So this is a time where we don't want to take things too personally, but this trine in the middle of the day does give us this nice little harmonizing aspect where we can harmonize with our true self, but we have to realize that there's a bit of an element of having to become that badass spiritual warrior. And this is not a time really, you know, it's not really a time right now for coddling kind of energy. It's like, I know we want to look for compassion in the world and peace, but this is a time where trying to find like the super coddling, mothering kind of energy. It's going to be tough, especially when you have the moon moving into Capricorn later in the day. So we kind of have to, the kind of compassion that needs to come through, it's going to be more of a masculine compassion. And it's not exactly the compassion where it's like it just hugs you and puts a nice warm blanket over you and makes you some like, no, this is like, it's a different kind of compassion that's coming forward. It's a compassion that's wanting to guide us. I'm channeling right now. It's a compassion that's wanting to guide you in the right direction. That's wanting to guide you in the direction that the whole reason why you even came down here in the first place. You know, I'm channeling right now. It's one of those kind of energies. I look at these kind of charts, right? And like we don't have any Cancer energy, right? Besides Vesta, we don't have any Cancer energy. Venus is in Virgo, so it's in its fall position, so she's not super happy right now. Yeah, we have some energies moving into Scorpio, but remember, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, which is the executioner, so it's already a bit of a tough energy to deal with. And then Pisces is Saturn, which is the boss, and then Neptune, like, which, like I said, Neptune is one of the strongest planets. It's while it is in retrograde, it's like he's awake, if you will, right? So very lucid, very awake in the dream. That's why things seem very crazy right now. And if you don't know how to navigate a lucid dream, if you are just simply going with the flow, going with the narrative of the dream, of this reality that's being presented to you, if you don't have the ability to be like, wait a minute, what is this trying to tell me? What is this signal? What is this symbol trying to tell me? What's going on here? If you can this is an opportunity for us to become lucid whenever Neptune goes retrograde. It's a time for us to become lucid and like kind of, understand a little bit more the spiritual nature and the world around us. It's a great time to try and see through, propaganda and stuff. But it's also when the propaganda, they jack that meter up. They turn it up, the static up. So then you can't hear, you can't see. It's harder to navigate. But if you pay attention to those messages, those signals that come through, you will find yourself becoming more lucid in your day-to-day reality. That's what this energy is teaching us. How can we become more lucid? It's not turning a blind eye to the things in the world, but also realizing that in many ways, there's some things that we simply, at least if there's some major conflict that's happening on the other side of the world, I think it's great to be aware of these sort of things, because the fact that things are happening there, it means that it can happen where you are. So the way that you rise above this and remain in that vibrational integrity is by, how do I become the greatest version of myself? Those people that live in those places, they incarnated and they chose those experiences for a certain reason, just like you chose your experiences for a certain reason, right? So that's the most important thing to focus on, is why are you here? Why did you come here, beloved? And I believe anyone's watching this, you are a badass spiritual warrior. These are the kind of transits that we're going to be seeing today, over the next week, throughout the rest of the year. That's going to be challenging a lot of the light workers and seeing who is really about it, because the intensity is just going to crank up. It's a positive time, I think, for light workers to really come together, and to really strengthen the network so we can lift the vibration of this planet. But at the same time, since the dial is going to be turned up, the electricity is getting turned up a little bit, which is interesting enough because Uranus is still retrograde. So we'll definitely follow the electricity a little bit more once Uranus comes forward. But with everything else that's still happening, that doesn't mean that there's no electricity. That doesn't mean that we live in an electromagnetic universe, right? Things are being cranked up. Pay attention to the signals, the signs, the news. Pay attention to these things, but have discernment. Don't allow them to emotionally control you. Don't allow yourself to get overly emotionally invested into these things and picking one side or another. This happens on the larger world scale and even in your personal life too. So it's not just what's happening overseas, it's also in your personal life. So how can it apply to your personal life too? But you'll see though, that as the moon hits 25 degrees, it makes the square over to Neptune, while Mercury is still in King Kunks to Neptune, while the sun is at 26 degrees as well. Awkward, intense energy here, folks. Awkward, intense energies. And if you don't think for a second that this is not a spiritual war that we're in, 2 + 5 is 7. 7 is the number of Neptune. Neptune is involved here. You're going to have a moon that's going to be in sextile to Mercury during this time as well. So there's going to be some opportunities that open up. Opportunities, it can go one way or another. It doesn't always have to be positive. It can be a negative thing. That's what I'm saying. I see a sextile as an opportunity for something to be created, right? So what narrative are you going to be communicating? Do you really feel, your spiritual worth, your spiritual value, if you will? Or are you kind of just going with the flow of what is being told and stuff, right? How do you navigate these kind of energies, right? So we're going to see that Mercury come to 26 degrees. So pretty much by the end of the day, 11:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, at least here on the East Coast, You're going to see that moon and, oh, not, excuse me, you're going to see the sun and Mercury come into its conjunction point at 26 degrees. Now, what's interesting about this, of course, is that now these energies are beginning to square Pluto. And the moon has come into Capricorn as well. I mean, shoot. As soon as the moon came into Capricorn, it did make a sextile over to Saturn, which, opens up an opportunity. But the opportunity seems like it has infinite possibilities, being that it's 0-0, right? So perhaps an opportunity to build something new, build a new legacy. But in order to build that new legacy, we still have to go through the destruction of this current, how things have currently gone. And this is one of those moments where it's like, if you think that things are going to remain the way that they've been our whole lives, it's not the truth. You came here to be a conduit of change and to bring in this new higher vibration. But it's like, there's a weird element where we had to attach to that old world, and then we're going to have to detach from it as well and try and bring in something, greater, higher, that's more beneficial for all of humanity. So, not gonna lie, not the easiest of energies to navigate, and I think a lot of it is what I'm seeing at least, is that the days themselves in like my personal life, there's not really like a whole lot of drama that's happening, like little things here and there, but it's almost like there's a numbness to the events that are happening in the world. And it's like it'll be intense in those particular spots, but everywhere else is numb. And it does kind of feel like, people are just wanting to take like a medicine to actually just mask the symptoms. But what's going to be coming up here, especially as these energies move into Scorpio and stuff, it's like the symptoms are going to actually get worse. And we're going to have to address the roots of a lot of these issues, the base of a lot of these issues as they come up. And that's going to be the difficult part too. I think Venus and Virgo is also showing that as well, especially when it trines over to Jupiter and Uranus. I think that'll be a powerful moment of healing. And of course, when it trines over to Pluto as well, I think it'll be a powerful moment of healing where we can actually address the root cause of a lot of these issues, right? That's causing the sickness and the inflammation spiritually of this place, of this world in our lives. But right now we are kind of dealing with, things are heating up, right? And you can feel it. Some people are trying to numb the pain right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, right? So, I think this is one of those moments where we do have to dig deep and find our resolve, like I've been saying over the last week, and realize that we are far more capable than we realize, and that there are opportunities within every single day to find the silver linings, to find that peace and harmony in our lives, to really find out what we truly do value, and it's something that I know that I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to write out a lot of the things that I value in my life, the things that I am grateful for. I'm probably gonna have two separate lists, probably the things that I'm grateful for, and then I'm gonna write another list for things that I value, and then actually put them in different tiers, and then start basing my actions off of those. But I think actually, when you can get it from the non-material and you can bring it to the material and actually kind of visualize it and stuff, I think it'll do something within your brain. It'll do something within your psyche, and actually probably be able to help you to really move forward things, And I think especially with the moon in Capricorn, and we're going to have, this energy, we're probably going to have this nice little temporary grand Earth trine with Venus, Jupiter, and the moon. Probably a great opportunity to do a sort of practice like that. Shoot, I may even make a video for that in of itself. So There's an idea. There's an idea. So, anyways, let's get into the cards, shall we? So, um, but yeah, it's interesting. Like, I really should have made this video a little bit ago because I just honestly been bullshitting around on my computer and stuff. I finally got around to doing this. It's like 1:33 a.m. that I'm finishing this up because I gotta wake up in the morning and take care of some other business too. So, and I think there's an element there too where it's like there are things that we know that we need to do or that we want to do, but definitely that we need to do, and there may be an element where we kind of want to just procrastinate on it. I think it's because we're trying to find the energy to do these things and trying to dig deep in. There is definitely a numbing kind of energy right now that's happening in the collective. And people are using different things to try and numb it. I think we all are using something, right? And I don't think it's a bad thing to per se find those positive escapes and stuff like that to help us to reset. But I think we have to still remind ourselves to connect to spirit on a daily basis, connect to God, whatever it is that you want to call it and stuff. But to connect with that, because ultimately that's really what's going to help us the most is by connecting to that energy to help us get through these times. So, appreciate the things that are working out in your life. Appreciate those people that do really have your back, that do really love you and stuff, that really do value you and care about you and stuff. So, like, really, just that's what matters right now. That's what matters right now. So. All right. Yeah, I got the Five of Pentacles in reverse. So this card came out and it was like kind of diagonal. So I was like, there's something about this card coming out. But Five of Pentacles in reverse, yeah. There's definitely this element where it's like we may be feeling like, oh my gosh, from the outside looking in, they're having such a great party in there. How come I'm not invited? Look, you're here on this planet, right? So you got invited to the party. Don't squander your life. Don't squander your opportunity. Realize that you are far more capable than you realize. And this whole feeling that you're on the outside looking in, that you feel cold because of the snow outside and everything, you want to be inside where it's warm and stuff. I get it. It's been weird and difficult trying to navigate these energies and processing all the information that we all have been blasted with over the last 3 years has been gnarly. And I think it's because like we are having to evolve with this because it's like, are humans really designed to take on this much information like this at such a rapid pace? It's kind of crazy, We also have, we have the Empress card in reverse too. So yeah, you may not necessarily be feeling like you're tip top, this is the card of Venus, and Venus is in Virgo, right? So this is definitely a time where, we may not be feeling fully there. We may be wondering if we can really make it through this. We may be wondering, it's like, am I actually really worthy of this? Some of you guys may be having imposter syndrome. Maybe some of you guys are unconfident and wonders like whether or not you can really provide that service to humanity. I think this is one of those moments where we have to just, take a deep breath. Kind of just slow down, realize the beautiful things that are happening right now in our life, the beautiful things that are showing up in our life, and realize that, we'll make it through this and we're a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit for. It's like humans have been through a lot. This world has been through a lot, and humans have survived a lot, and you can survive this too. And, don't forget about some of those natural instincts that you have too. Don't forget about those spiritual instincts that you have. And if there are moments where I think this is a moment too where I think some people are trying to be. I get the sense that some people are just trying to be like too strong. They've had to be strong for so long for themselves and for other people that are relying on them. Just been so strong, but trying to keep up that facade about being strong and confident and seeming like they have it all together. And it's like, man, these people probably want to break down the most. I think we all have had a moment like that, at least one moment like that over the last 3 months where we just had to break down. It's just like, this kind of does feel like one of those moments today where we might find ourselves coming to our knees. We're like, yo, just any little bit, it's like we got to find like those small wins, you know what I mean? So, bottom of the deck, yeah, we had the 7 of Cups. Of course, there's a lot of information coming at us. We can be feeling a lot of different emotions right now. We can feel like there are so many options, and we honestly just want someone to give us an answer. You have to go within yourself. That's where the answer lies. It's in your heart, right? And sometimes the journey to the heart is a very scary one. Actually, it usually is a pretty scary, the journey to the heart is a pretty scary one. But once you can get there, once you can start to tap into that energy, you realize that that was the home. That's where your home has been this whole time. So that is going to do it for your forecast today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. If you'd like to have a personal reading with me, beloved, you can follow the link in the description below to my website, jphoenix.com. And as always, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day. I will see you guys on the next astrology forecast. Peace.